first of all, just so everybody can meet you, will you tell us what your name is and where you're from and just a little bit about yourself?
Okay. My name is Vita, and I'm from Ukraine. For those who just made like a little, huh? Ukraine? Is this my countryside? Well, I want to tell that this is a country, like a real country, and the independent one. Though it is not bigger than Texas in territory, but it is a country. It is not far from Germany and Russia. It's in Eastern Europe. And I have been living here since my childhood, and I'm still here.
Okay. So I just want to let everyone know we don't have your video here because the internet was too slow for it, but that's okay. So can you tell us a little bit like have you been an Adventist all your life? If not, how did you become Adventist? That sort of thing.
Um, I'm not from the SDA family from my childhood, and I came to no, I got to know about the church when I was 12 or 13. I was invited to attend the Pathfinder Club meetings.
Oh,
Too
nice.
old fashioned, right? Um, and I attended the Pathfinder Club for like 4 years or till I was 15. After that, I entered the college and then the university, and I forgot about the church for some time. But when I was 18, I came back to the church because I wanted to to be the Vita, which I was when I was attending the Pathfinder Club meetings.
Yeah.
And I came back to the church, but I got baptized only when I was 22, I guess. So it was quite a long time to take that decision.
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you think you there were some good memories that you had from your childhood that made you drew you back? Is that what you mean when you say that was the Vita you wanted to be?
Oh, yeah. Um, that can sound a little bit weird, but when I was in college and then in the university, I was usually surrounded by people who didn't know anything about the church or about like the faith or things like that, and that's why they were just up to different parties, different things like I don't know, like taking. Mm, they were having like bad habits, let's call it so,
Yeah.
and sometimes they suggested to try all that, and I realized pretty well that I didn't get the feelings and emotions which I wanted to get from all that stuff.
Mm.
And I like in the morning I was also like ashamed of what happened. Why did I even try that? I didn't try something like, oh my, I can't tell about that to my children. No, not the bad, but still, like, to, to make the things short, I just didn't get satisfaction from the things that were suggested to me by the friends from the world.
Mm.
But when I was communicating with the people, with the kids in the Pathfinder Club and in the church, I got like I felt content, and I wanted to feel it back, to have that feeling back. So I decided to go back to the church and to find out if it was really that place where I could get that feeling back.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't. So I have a question because sort of Christianity is relatively has spread relatively recently in your country compared to the United States. Would you say
Yeah.
that a lot of people become Adventists instead of are born into an Adventist family?
If we speak about the millennials, right, then yes, probably most of them are becoming the Adventist. They are not born in the SD families, but uh, like the, for example, like the kids who are now at school, of course, if they are in the church, then
Mm.
it means that they are from the Adventist families.
Yeah, okay. So people of our generation or older have usually become Adventists.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's
the
interesting.
majority.
I didn't really think about that because, here in the United States, obviously Adventist movement started here, so there are plenty of people whose families have been Adventists, like mine, for like 4 generations. So I think that's common here, and that's an interesting difference between kind of Adventists our age in the US and there. Because most of the time, I guess people choose it there if they're our age, rather than here they just kind of have it as a culture.
And that's why I think that in your case, it's even more difficult because when I came to the church, I had this, like breaking point, and it was like I saw the changes in my life,
Mm.
and I knew what was changing. But I also have friends who are from the Adventist families, and it is very difficult for them to sometimes to answer the question why I am in the church. Like, when is the time when the religion of my parents should become my
Mm.
religion?
Yeah.
Uh, It's, I don't know. I feel sometimes I feel that I even don't know what to say to those friends because, oh
Yeah,
my,
I think
pray
that's
for you.
yeah, I think that people in the US would really identify with those people because I feel like for my peers that's kind of the similar problem is like they've grown up with it and it's not really theirs in the sense that it doesn't mean something deeply because it's just been what they've done and so they end up leaving because they don't know why they believe what they believe or even if they do believe it. So have you, I guess, my next question would be, what about Adventism specifically is important to you? Obviously, you talked about how you felt your life different, but is there anything specific to Adventism that you feel helped made you choose that over some other denomination?
For me, the main thing was like to find the church which corresponds everything what is written in the Bible. And every sermon which I heard in the Adventist church was based on Bible verses, and that made me believe, and that strengthened the faith, and like no controversies from what God said and between what God said and what pastor in the church says.
Yeah,
Hopefully, that made me stay in this church.
yeah. So would you say that it's just in general the culture in Ukraine is a secular culture?
Oh yeah, especially young people, they don't care. Like they are good and they care about some, I don't know, nature, about their friends, but they don't care about God. Like, okay, you can believe everything you want. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like they respect what you believe, your beliefs, but they are just the majority of young people in Ukraine don't care about churches.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can go wherever you want to go.
Yeah, I think it's in a way, maybe is where that is kind of where I see culture heading in the United States, because historically we've been a very sort of Judeo-Christian Western nation, and I think more and more as the years go by it's becoming a more secular culture and people are taking that attitude a little bit more. So maybe we can learn some things about how to be effective with millennials from kind of what works there.
Mm, well, sometimes, um, I think that sometimes we should try to use the ways which are popular in the world. Like Paul said about that in the Bible. Like we have to be up to date and to try to use everything which possible but doesn't contradict the Bible.
Yeah.
So, for example, I don't know if it works with the people in the US because it's completely different culture and probably you've used these methods, but they don't work now. But with us, we try to make the movies theaters for young people, and they are like, I don't know, park movies theater near the church. We invite non-Christian young people who are in the park, and it's evening with tea, coffee, lemonade, I don't know, cookies, uh, and a Christian movie. After that, we can invite them to come to the church on Sabbath or on any other day when we have youth meetings
Yeah.
or some concerts, like different ways. But the thing is that um, we try not to um, like to nowadays we like we try to fight the image of um, the Adventist church to be like as a sect in people's mind.
Yeah.
We try to change it, and that's why at first we try to show that we are normal. We watch movies, we hang out in the park, we like we're alive and we're like you are, but we have something more. So at first we try to show that we are okay, we're not zombies, we're just people who care. And
Yeah.
then we show them like something which we have more than they have.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. What would you say? I guess because of what we talked about of people our age who kind of have come into the church, there's not the same sort of sense of rebellion. Maybe I don't know. What would you say the attitude of young people in the church is generally in Ukraine?
Um, I can say that we are sleeping.
Yeah.
We are so extremely lazy. Um, I had a chance to visit the Philippines this year, and I realized that Ukrainian church is completely sleeping. We could do a lot more things, but it's just like I am praying, I'm reading devotional. I think that I have the relationship with God. But then I realized that actually 6 days of my week I spend on my job, on something else, on my hobbies, friends, family, oh, then food, then shopping, then something else, then oh my, even on traffic jams I spend more time than on doing what I want me to do. So, um, if to be extremely honest, I can say that our young people do 10% of what we could have done or of what we could do. Like, we are very lazy. We are afraid. Sometimes we are even afraid to be rejected.
Hmm.
Like, when you you're the Adventist church member. What? Are you crazy? What they've done to you? Like, oh, just go and consult the psychotherapist because you need the help of a doctor. Oh, poor thing, they take your money. Oh my.
Yeah. So, what do you think, other than just being almost kind of afraid, what reasons do you think there are that people our age are just kind of sort of lethargic?
Um, Besides the feeling, this like of being afraid, I think that many of us don't take the mm, don't I don't know how to like we don't really truly believe and like understand to its fullest that Jesus is coming soon, and soon means like very soon. Nobody knows soon, and how soon, and some like we forget, we remember about our job, like it's like false priorities.
Yeah.
He's not coming today, and you start to think that, oh, like when you wake up you think about, oh my, it's Monday, oh office, oh my, and then something again and again and again and again, and then, oh, it's Sabbath, oh wow, where is my week? And because like when you need to do something for your work, your boss or something from your colleagues, or somebody from your colleagues, or even your smartphone reminds you about it every day, like some notes on your table or some things, they constantly remind you to do this. Or for example, your motivation, when you do this you will have a vacation. But like when we hear Jesus is coming soon, what do we feel? Oh, Jesus is coming soon. Okay, amen.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't take it seriously. I think this is the reason. It's like among young people in Ukraine, we take our relationship with people more seriously. We take our job more seriously, but we don't take the the reality, like Jesus is coming soon,
Yeah.
like very seriously.
Would you
And then
say? Oh, go ahead.
it raises one more question in my head when I think about it. Like, one, why am I then in the church? If I don't take this thing seriously, why am I in the church?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people here are dealing with. They get to, high school or college or even to their careers, and they say like, what am I getting out of this, or what's it changing in my life, and so they end up just leaving because they don't see what it's doing differently in their life, and that's, I think, partly a problem caused by the church, because it doesn't, like you said, there's not something in front of us all the time reminding us like why it is that it's important.
That's true. But
So, oh, go ahead.
that question, I think once I've found the answer, like for me personally, when I think, why am I in the church? Uh, I then I think, okay, like I'm in the church. Why am I in the church? Well, I started to go in the church, and okay, and I start to dig deeper, and then I think about the other question, like if I don't take all these things seriously, why then do I really have the relationship with God? Do I believe that He is? Like,
Yeah.
seriously, like my cell phone or my parents or I don't know, my new shoes. Do I believe that God really is? And I think this is the main question. Why are we sleeping?
Hmm.
Like why we are sleeping? Because we don't take the unfortunately. And it's really frightening to realize that. Do
Yeah.
I really take the existence of God seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think, is this just kind of like a rhetorical question, or can you think of something that might be a solution for that?
Oh yeah, I have a
Oh,
solution.
good. Perfect.
Yay, we are safe. Um, I have no doubt that every person who at least once came to the church had a personal relation with God, like the personal experience. Something happened, and you clearly knew that it was done by God for you, like not for the whole world, not for the whole universe, but exactly for you. I don't know, just the green light on the street, or I don't know, like the car stopped in a particular place, or somebody called you, and it was just something that was done especially to you, and you knew that it was done by God. So it was like the the personal experience. And when I have this terrible question which arises in my head, why am I in the church, or do I really believe that God is? I immediately start to recollect those occasions when I clearly saw what He was doing in my life. Like, I do nothing, but extremely amazing things happened, and I knew that it was Him. It was really Him. Uh, and I say, yes, He is. He is indeed.
So then you just have to replicate those. Either remember them or replicate them, right?
Yeah, I think that this is like many times, well, not many actually, but several times in the Bible, God said, remember. And all those things, all those times when He told that, He tried to highlight or to point at very important things. For example, remember the Sabbath day. It's important because it's like the very special day for our communication with God. Or uh, when He led the Israel people from the Egypt, He said, "Remember how I led you, or I free you from the slavery." I don't remember like word to word, but several times God says, "Remember." So He wants us to remember because I think He knew that it would be like very helpful for us when we try to forget,
Yeah.
or when we start to forget.
What about, and maybe you don't have the answer for this, but I'll just ask it anyway. What about, do you think, for people who don't have those experiences that they can draw on to remember? Like a lot of people who maybe have grown up in the church, but it's been purely cultural and they never did have like a real sort of personal experience with God.
Okay, I doubt that it can happen, but okay, let's let's imagine that okay, the person doesn't remember whatever. Then I have the recipe for this too.
Oh, good.
um, I think that the person should try God, like um, to arrange the deal with Him, or I don't know, to
Like
ask
Gideon with
Him,
his sheepskin.
yeah, or try like ask Him to do something and then wait. Just try Him, because if that is what is written, like try me in any way, and I will respond to it.
Yeah. So would you say for young people there, are they just staying in the church but being kind of sleeping, or are there a lot of people that are leaving the church?
Oh wow. that's kind of like mm, there are a lot of young people in the church lists,
Mm.
but there are so not so many people on the Sabbath worship.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like, are they sleeping or are we dead already?
Yeah, right.
So, for some reason, our young people stop coming to the church. It means that they stop coming to God, actually. Mm, so I guess they just start losing their I don't know, like serious attitude to their relationship with God and put something on a higher position
Mm.
on the first place.
Yeah. Well, this has been interesting. I think in a lot of ways there are similarities with our generation, but then in a lot of ways, I think because our cultures are so different, um, it's interesting to see what the differences are, especially because of, you know, um, sort of the history of Adventism in the U.S. and things like that.
Yeah. And I think that the church, the worldwide church, is really changing. And what's happening with the churches there in the US, like step by step, very slowly, but coming to Europe and then to Eastern countries, and all like the church all over the world is changing. I think that the problems that our churches survive through now, the US churches have survived through them like several years ago
Yeah.
or tens of years ago. So unfortunately, these changes sometimes they are like um, changes which make somebody to like to wake up and say, "Hey guys, okay, let's change something because it can work this way further." But some changes change the church till like up to the degree that you can't realize, are we still Christians?
Do you have an example of that?
Uh, like I don't know if you have the Friday night meetings in the church. Probably it's okay, like not to have them in the US now. But because the church is not that old in Ukraine, we still have Friday night worship in the church when church members come and have the um, beginning of the Sabbath day in the church. But several months ago, our pastor had to say that we will not have the Friday night worship in our church because people don't come.
Hmm.
And like uh, for you to know, we have like 200 church members in our church. So it means that nobody from out of 200 comes for the Friday night worship.
Yep.
It was like, wow, really? Then probably it was very frightening to hear because I had a thought like, oh my, what will happen in 5 years? Will we have to say that we will not have Saturday night worship? And then probably we will need to have that we will not have the Sabbath morning worship because nobody comes.
Mm-hmm.
It was very scary and like disappointing.
Yeah. Yep. That's definitely a problem here. A lot of places either don't. Well, most churches, unless it's like an academy or a university or something, they don't really have Friday night stuff or Saturday night stuff. Here, I live in Loma Linda, so it's a really big church, a couple thousand people, I think. And they have Friday night and Saturday night, but attendance is very, very small for the amount of people that are members. Like,
Same here.
yeah.
And wow, wow.
So
Oh,
part of what I'm wondering for the millennial generation is whether we need to change the medium, because at least like what you were talking about with going to the parks and doing stuff like that, I don't know that that would play here because most um, people don't attend things at all, really. So that's why I'm wondering if like sort of more an online format would be more appealing. I don't know.
uh, online?
Yeah.
We are not that far.
Yeah.
Um, for us, like it can work for you there, but as I told, it will come to us in 10 years, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for chatting with me about this, and maybe we'll have you on again sometime.
I was really excited to participate in this chat, and it was really great to hear you and to get to know all these differences and similarities between the churches worldwide.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks.